A bipartisan group of senators today have reached a tentative deal to help students facing the doubling of interest rates on government-backed student loans. This according to aides close to the deal. The interest rates on subsidized loans doubled on July 1st because of congressional inaction. They say about 7 million students were effective. This deal would change rates for all government-backed student loans. Joining us now is Neal McCluskey. He's Ph.D., Associate Director at the Center for Educational Freedom. Hello, sir.
Hello?
Hello, Neal.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now I can.
Oh, good.
Technology is amazing. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Okay, I'm good. All right, so I don't know if you heard me that there appears to be a bipartisan deal in the Senate with regard to rolling back the interest rates for those government-backed student loans. You're of the opinion that it might be a good thing, or the rate hike that took place was a good thing, I guess, or might be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a good thing. Either way, it's going to be very small impact. So there's been outsized wailing and gnashing of teeth over the rising of this interest rate. But you have to remember, first of all, this is not retroactive. So if you're, say, going into your senior year in college, this won't apply to any of the loans you've taken out the previous 3 years. It's only for new loans, and it's only for subsidized loans, which, using federal parlance, that's just one subset of the loans. And I calculated that if you have to take a year of loans at 6.8% versus 3.4%, it's only going to cost you about $6 more per month. So this isn't huge, but the point is college costs and prices have skyrocketed for decades, beyond even health care. And the reason for it is that people pay with other people's money, mainly through the federal government, heavily subsidized loans, federal grants, and things like that. So the more people pay with their own money, the better it is to get rational pricing.
Right. So you're saying basically it's consumer demand, and as long as consumer could get the credit and the colleges could raise their prices and the students or the parents, whomever, could get these loans and they'll pay any price basically because they have a mixture of financial aid, which a lot of which, as you point out, is government backed, and you and I are paying for in the long run. So if they're forced to pay more, they'll be better shoppers, and colleges will be forced to rein in prices and what they charge the students. Correct?
Yeah, ultimately, you're much more likely to look for to buy an efficient product of service if you're paying with your own money than if you're paying with money you've gotten from other people, especially if it's money that didn't voluntarily come from those other people, like a true private loan,
right,
or somebody giving you the money who's a friend of yours or something like that. You'll overconsume if someone else will pay for it.
Well, that makes sense. So why is government involved in this at all? And why was so much made and to this day is still being made about the increase, which, as you point out, is minuscule?
Yeah, well, government is involved, I think probably initially because they were really trying to help the lowest income people afford college. But very quickly, and probably even from the beginning, but, different people probably had different motives in Washington, but really from the beginning, it was probably driven, and clearly is driven now, primarily by political interests. And what's in the interest of politicians is to give out as much of other people's money as they can to people who want to go to college or think they may want to go to college or have gone to college, because then you're essentially buying their votes. They think this guy really cares, look at the money he's giving me. And so I think it's mainly political gain that drives it. No doubt there are still people who think, well, we need to supply this money to make college affordable. But I really think anybody who deals with this issue in Congress, who knows the basic data, can see very clearly that the main effect of this is just to pump up prices to ridiculous levels.
Yeah, well, how does the government, now that it's in it to this extent, how do they, let me put it this way, how do they gracefully back out of it so that it doesn't send the system into chaos?
Yeah, so the good news, such as it is on this, is that federal student aid has morphed into all sorts of different programs geared at all sorts of different people, including upper middle class and even upper, like rich people. I mean, if you talk about the various tax credit programs and things like that that encourage you to spend money on higher ed, most of those are really geared toward upper income people. So you could phase this out in a very rational way. You start by getting rid of those tax credits, which are hugely skewed to the well-to-do. You get rid of what's called unsubsidized loans, but are really subsidized because they're still federal loans that have a taxpayer backing to them so they can have a low interest rate. You get rid of those unsubsidized, quote-unquote unsubsidized loans because it doesn't matter what you earn. You can qualify for those.
Right.
There's no reason we should be giving loans to people who don't need them. And then you'll be reduced to subsidized loans and basically Pell Grants. I'd say that you should even get rid of Pell Grants. And if you really need to give loans to or aid to low-income people, their biggest problem is they don't have collateral. So then, okay, the federal government gives them a loan, but they get paid back. Because remember, the main reason we send people to college is so they can greatly increase their earning potential. There's no reason they should get free money from taxpayers to do that.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. We got 20 seconds. What's the likelihood that your scenario will ever play out in our lifetime?
Well, it's probably not great, except there is clearly bipartisan support, at least among bipartisan policy wonks, that we should start getting rid of the things like these tax credits, tax deductions. And so people are, I think, starting to focus on how truly wasteful this is. We probably won't get where I want to go.
Right, I hear you.
But we will move in that direction.
Neal, thank you. Neal